Good morning, and many thanks for inviting me to your meeting. And I'm very sorry I couldn't be with you today, but I'm just going to tell you a few things about BioBlitzes and nature conservation and try to convince you why BioBlitzes are more than a bit of fun. I don't think I need to say a lot about this slide. I think biodiversity is declining faster than at any time in human history. And those of us who work on terrestrial ecosystems, but also in the marine ecosystem, we have witnessed some sort of change. And there are many reasons why we see these biodiversity changes and many anthropogenic pressures or drivers of change, as they're called. Some of these drivers are the land and sea chains, the overexploitation of natural resources, climate change, pollution, and invasive alien species. And I am the communication manager for a COST action that finished recently, Alien CSI. And Alien CSI was an action that was trying to connect the issue of invasive alien species with citizen science initiatives. Invasive alien species are those alien species that are being introduced to new locations, and they cause negative impacts either to biodiversity, but also to human health and economic sectors such as agriculture or forestry, and also the tourism sometimes. And this is one of the leaflets that we did during our COST action in order to raise awareness about invasive alien species and encourage children to start recording invasive alien species or just notice them. And you can find more leaflets on our website if you're interested in the topic of invasive alien species. Invasive alien species are a huge concern for the European Union, and there is a regulation in place. And actually, scientists are encouraged to study them, but also to manage them. And one of the things that is very positive is that actually the general public and citizens can help towards the recording of invasive alien species. So monitoring, biodiversity monitoring for invasive alien species, but also for other species could increase with citizen science. And citizen science are all these diverse approaches that involve people in monitoring in a voluntary capacity. There is great potential for citizen science in Europe, but also in Asia and in Africa. And in order to fulfill its role, a citizen science program, it needs to meet the local needs. So it needs to be designed locally in order to fit your needs, but also it needs to support global needs and international biodiversity targets. And I think all this is very nicely summarized by Mike Pocock and et al. In a paper of 2018, and you can go back and read it if you are interested in the topic. So Alien CSI, the COST action that I was part of, has 4 working groups. The first working group was looking at engaging people to citizen science. The second working group was looking at approaches to citizen science. The third on data management and standards, and one on analysis and visualization of data. And this is, we have a nice video on what our Alien CSI COST action was trying to achieve. And again, you can visit our website to view it. So one of the approaches to citizen science are the BioBlitzes or the BioBlitz. It has emerged in the 1990s. It's an intensive short-term survey in a specific area. And a lot of different kinds of events can be under the umbrella of BioBlitz. And you're bound to find an event that suits you. As you can see on the map, this is a map that comes from a publication that we did through our Alien CSI COST action, led by Sophie Meus from the Maise Botanic Gardens. And you can see that BioBlitzes are very popular in North America and Canada. They also happen, though, all over the world. And although the data are not published for many Asian regions, there are BioBlitzes happening there. but also there are many the last few years in Europe. So in this publication led by Sophie Meus, we looked at the aims of a BioBlitz by analyzing the literature, by doing a literature review, but also by looking at the case study of the Akrotiri BioBlitz that we did a few years ago before COVID as part of the Alien CSI COST Action. And there are many aims of a BioBlitz. People do BioBlitzes in order to create inventories of species for a certain location, in order to learn about new species, in order to discover new species, to promote an organization, and for public engagement. And there are multiple benefits of a BioBlitz. So BioBlitz is not just a fun activity, but it is a lot of fun. It can be very effective at gathering data and generating useful biological records. It is cheaper and quicker for rapid biodiversity assessment, and is highly effective at engaging people after the end of the BioBlitz. And you can see here on this figure, the black nodes and the orange nodes are the people who got involved a few years ago at the Akrotiri BioBlitz. Akrotiri wetland is where I'm based in Cyprus, and it's a protected site which has many native species, but also many invasive ones. So we had many scientists here recording invasive and native species, but also the blue nodes you can see are all these people who got involved without being here with us. Who identified species that we recorded using the iNaturalist application during this BioBlitz. So the BioBlitz can ensure long-term conservation outcomes and increase research capacity, and also build cross-disciplinary partnerships. These are some photos from different BioBlitzes that we ran during the Alien CSI action. We started with the Akrotiri wetland, then we went to Aveiro, to a protected area in Aveiro in Portugal. Then we ran a pan-European BioBlitz last year, and we're hoping to do so in a few days. So if any of you want to be part of this BioBlitz, you can contact Pavel. You can see him here on this picture with the chair of our COST Action, Professor Helen Roy. And actually, these photos are from the Tivoli Park in Slovenia, that we ran a very nice bingo session with colleagues from there in the Tivoli Park. It was a great day and activity, and we involved many people who were visiting the park at the same time as we were there. So if you want to join us, you can. There is still time. You can contact Pavel and let him know. I just want to say that BioBlitzes in the future, with the use of new technologies, will strengthen the ability to support even more the multiple outcomes that provide. Thank you, and have a great meeting.